Just holding the line, so we need to get into this as soon as we can. Stay here.
Like many organizations, a university setting follows a hierarchy of experts that fill in different roles to ensure the smooth running of the school system. And at the top of that structure is the office of the Vice Chancellor. The Vice Chancellor principal academic and administrative officer of the university that chairs the council of the university, the general board of the faculties, and the finance committee of the council.
The selection criteria for such a position is usually very firm, as the candidates must demonstrate a various number of abilities and virtues, which include a record of academic excellence and achievements, an established reputation in the leadership, management, and administration of a complex organization, outstanding communication skills, amongst many others.
In the case of the OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University, however, things have taken quite a turn, with the locals of the university town, IFE, insisting on a particular criterion, that the newly appointed vice-chancellor be an indigene of the town. The current tension between the OAU campus community and the IFE indigenes over the appointment of Professor Adebayo as the 12th substantive vice-chancellor of the university is due to claims by the indigenes that since the school was founded in the early 1960s, no indigene has been appointed as the chief executive.
This has led to various protests by locals of the community, with the level of violence increasing with each passing day in a bid to forcefully install their indigene as the next vice-chancellor. Staff and students of the university have been attacked violently, charms and fetish objects have been used as well, and the overall peace disrupted. A major question on people's minds: to what end? This morning, we discussed the appointment of OAU's new vice-chancellor and the protest by traditionalists. And we have joining us via the telephone line Lawrence AWOWOYE, who is the chairman, IFE Development Council. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, let's get started this way. Well, we have some audio clips. Would get to them as we progress with the conversation. I mean, I finished from OBAFEMI University in 2013, and I remember the process whereby vice chancellors emerged to go around, try to do some sort of canvassing and, lay bare their manifestos of sorts. And it's never been this low in terms of after the results. And as a matter of fact, once the results have been declared, everybody accepts it and sees it as, okay, the committee that did the process or that oversaw the process of the emergence of that candidate must have done their due diligence, and you can't question their integrity. I mean, how did it descend to this point whereby indigenes felt this was not... they felt they were slighted. They felt they should have a chance at the top echelon of the university.
And to add to that question, my question is really basic. How did it get to the point where in a place where a vice chancellor comes from becomes a criterion? How did it get to that point? Should that happen in the first place? Should that be a criterion in the first place? Hello?
Can you hear us? Okay. Well, he's still on the line, but for some reason he cannot hear us. Let's try to reestablish connection with him as soon as we can. This is Splash 106.7, the Integrity Station, and we're having a conversation that bordered us on the emergence of the new Vice-Chancellor of OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University, and we're trying to reestablish our guest Lawrence AWOWOYE, who is the chairman, IFE Development Council, and we want to make a sense of every single thing that's happened so far. Can you hear us, Lawrence?
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Did you catch all of the questions that we asked you?
Okay.
Did you get the questions?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Basically centered on how did OAU get to this point whereby indigenes felt, it had to be them that should produce the next vice chancellor, which had never happened in time past.
Yeah, should that be a criterion where the vice chancellor comes from? Should that be a criterion in a university setting?
Well, let me put some things correct. Number one, maybe there's need for us to understand that OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University is a pride of Ile-Ife and the Ife indigenes. because it's a well-known uh, citadel of academy with international reputation. And it must be known too and noted that whether we like it or not, if a community has natural oversight function on any federal government institution in its environment, because it serves them first and foremost before all other people, economically, educationally, and in whatever form. So whatever is going on in that place, just like any other place, if sons and daughters and residents of Ilefe must be interested, because if there is any problem in that place, it's going to affect their aspiration and expectation from that university. And all through, we have known that that particular university has been doing very well. And up to this point in time, where extraneous issues, blackmail against even the community has come in and then be played out by the outgoing vice chancellor. Number one, let me state again that, of course, since 61 years ago that it has been established, IFE has not produced a VC as a community where that particular university started, because, like we know and like we have been told, we have not been able to have candidates that probably had that particular qualification or maybe stayed in that particular university for long to merit that kind of appointment. And that made us to start proposing, working on our sons and daughters in that university to work around the clock and make sure they qualify for that particular post. Of course, it should be an interested post to all of us. And this one, we believe, was highly qualified. And that's why if I said, if you have a child that's been very good in education, you know too that he has been doing very well, and he came home with poor results, you should be interested or know why it is, why such a thing happens. So that's the case about Professor Adeokuta, a son of Ife, and an indigenous of Ife. But the truth I must say here is, what is going on now, the protest against what happened in OBAFEMI University is not targeted at anybody, and it's not because the Ife indigene didn't or was not appointed by the council as the VC. No, that's not. Of course, we are interested. We want him to be appointed, of course. But the thing, what people are doing, or what we are saying, is that the process of appointment of that VC was not transparent. There was secrecy surrounding it. We have evidence to show for that. Number one, the council extracted confidentiality agreement from committee members, meaning that whatever you see here, whatever you know here, you must not say it outside. It's like taking an oath of secrecy. That's the first time from all the appointment procedures that have been used in the past. And why such a thing anyway? Number two, extraneous procedure or policies were brought in, which were never used before in the appointment of vice chancellor. I'm happy somebody said in the past it has gone well without any problem. Of course, once they agree, once they have seen that the procedure was transparent and no problem, everybody will agree. If the same thing happened with this one, we will congratulate the winner, and then we will work hand in hand with him, just like you have been doing, even with Professor Ogumodede, that is they are
leaving office, right? Hello.
So, and the truth is that I must say this: protest is an internationally acceptable medium of showing your dissatisfaction.
Yes, but this protest has bordered on violence.
It must not be violent and it must not be destructive. This one that has just happened was never violent and was not destructive. All they have been saying, some students were assaulted, let them bring evidence. Let us see. It's like a blackmail. That's what we believe, because the youth were seriously warned and were guided. Even the policemen were around them, asking them not to get it to a sort of violent point. So this blackmail of violence, no, it didn't happen.
Okay. Well, would proceed now to listen to the announcement of Bamire as the new VC of OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University by the chairman, as well as the chairman of the board of council of the governing board and the board of council of OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University. And then we'll get back to you to also now, clarify a few things further. I'm talking about Lawrence AWOWOYE, who is the chairman of IFE Development Council. Everyone take a listen.
In line with the provisions of the Universities Miscellaneous Provision Amendment Act as amended, the report of the selection board was considered by the council, which, after a careful and dispassionate review of the report, decided to appoint Professor Adebayo Simeon Bamire, a professor of agricultural economics from the Faculty of Agriculture of OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University, IFE, as the Vice Chancellor of the University with effect from June 7, 2022.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You just heard the voice of the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, Owele Oscar Odoji, when he made the announcement of the new Vice Chancellor. We're talking about Adebayo Bamire. So let's come back to you, Lawrence. Are you disputing what Udoji just said in that audio clip?
We are saying, and I'm saying it, and I'm still repeating it, that the procedure that produced this particular new appointment was shrouded in secrecy. It was not transparent. That's what we are saying. If it is transparent and open, even to the board members that were there, nobody will complain. We will congratulate the person.
All right.
It has happened in the past. Nobody complained.
Sorry to cut you short. Sorry to cut you short. Are there any doubts about Professor Bamire's qualifications to handle this post? Are there any doubts at all?
You see, I don't know. I must tell you this. Board politics, except you are a member of the board, you can't know what the politics is all about. I've been board members of at least 6 federal boards. I know what goes on in board room and politics. The management of that particular institution where you are a board member determines what the outcome of whatever board proceeding. They have been prepared, and that's why we are saying that all that is going on now, at OAU about this particular protest was caused by Professor Ogumo the day they are going visit.
How so?
Because he must have been the one that must have been briefed, that must have briefed the board committee, and it is whatever they say that at the end of the day, the chairman will announce. I'm not quarreling with the chairman. I'm not saying what the chairman said. He didn't have the right to do it. But I'm saying that, and I still stand by it, that the procedure that produced this VC is shrouded in secrecy. It was not transparent. And that's what we are saying. Let them review this procedure. If the government finds out that, yes, it's okay, exactly the same thing, we will be happy. We will say thank you, and we will congratulate the person. All we are asking for is please review the procedure they went through. They know. I've given you 2 instances.
Okay.
They brought in a system that was never used. Even that produced Professor Ogumo that day, it was never used. How do you give double marks, give 20 marks to somebody who has been did this before? It was never part of the system before. But when you have a procedure, when you have a candidate, you pattern everything towards that particular candidate. That's what we are saying. Everything that was done there was manipulative and was targeted at producing a already known candidate by some of them.
Okay. Well, you mentioned a few things in your last submission, and one of them included the fact that the outgoing VC, Professor Itayo Gumodede, must have sort of, or maybe you insinuated, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that it must have the team that conducted the interview must have acted in his interest, that they must have hinted them a few things for them to have come up with Bamire as the new VC. Do you have evidence to support this?
Of course, yes. Of course, you cannot deny it if you have been a board member before. The chief executive of any institution where you're a board member influences whatever goes on, and the outcome of whatever is going to be the product of your proceeding at the board meetings. There's no doubt about that. And Professor Ogumo, being the outgoing chairman, the chief executive of that university, of this university, definitely would believe It must have influenced the outcome of this secrecy and lack of transparent appointment. Number one, it's known that Professor Ogunmodode has been canvassing against Ife community, has been alleging blackmailing Ife community on quote, land grabbers, poisoning the water dam. The major issue, the major contention is that Ife donated land for Obafemi Awolowo University out of joy. But subsequently, the university management encroached on the land that was not given to them by our fathers that gave them the land. The land that was given to them was gazetted. The basement, the day everything was gazetted. We have the gazette. And what we are asking them that the one you have encroached now, give us the gazette that gave it to you. Who and who signed it? They have not been able to produce that. But he kept on saying that if the indigenous have encroached their land, they have grabbed their land. And those are the part of the blackmail that he was using to intimidate Ife indigenous and whatever. So we know this. So we already know that he himself is biased against Ife community and indigenous. And that must have influenced what he did. And he was not hiding it, and he's still not hiding it.
Okay, well, let's move on and, listen to the voices of some protesters that were caught up with. They had this sometimes last week, and they made their voices of dissent known at the emergence of Bamire as the new vice-chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University. Listen to this.
I've been lenient with OU community for 61 years. We own this land. Our fathers gave this land. This soil is ours. If we cannot produce a substantive vice-chancellor for 61 years, we have failed. So what we are clamoring for is that for the period of 5 years, just a single time, test Ife. We have somebody that can do it. Yesterday we are here just briefly, but today we are here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we'll be here. We want to show them that we actually mean business them around. We are not saying Ife. We are saying Ife, federal constituency, after 61 years. This is the 12th VC that they appoint. We are going to fight it to the last call. We are not saying there's no appointment Banire. Banire should go back to the team and become a VC.
Like I said, we're able to catch up with some protesters who made their voices of dissent known at the emergence of Bamire as the new vice-chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University. Let's come back to you, Lawrence, in this regard. I mean, you mentioned how the protesters were just going about their thing without disrupting activities, and those you mentioned that those are allegations, but I mean, we just have this on audio now.
What I'm saying is that protest carried out by the youth in Ife was never violent, and there was no destruction there. We warned them when they were about to do it. It was a spontaneous thing. We kept on appealing to them, but it's not easy when people started protesting to bring them down almost immediately. But we kept on appealing to them, But we also warned them, as you are going into this protest, please, it must not be violent, it must not be destructive, and we monitor them. The security agents also monitor them. The commissioner of police, the area commander, the PPOs, they were all around watching them. There was nothing like violence or destruction. The only thing that anybody can talk about is what we call pocketing. Pocketing is when you block off the gate, you refuse people to go in and out to let them know that you're angry. And that I know they did that. But of course, part of what we are saying them, don't lock up gates, allow people to go in and front. And at the end of the day, that's why we are able to pacify, then suspend, appeal to them to suspend, open the gate for them, let them come out. Including the efforts of His Imperial Majesty, the Honour People, and the governor of the state, who appeal to everybody to please allow the protest to be suspended while they are looking into it. There was no violence, there was no destruction.
So you're clearly stating that those allegations were false or are false.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Did you hear the question that she asked you?
No.
Oh.
I said, are you clearly stating that those allegations are false?
the allegation of violence,
on violence and
destruction of properties.
Yes, and also of charms and fetish
we'll
objects.
Get to that part very shortly. But I want to ask you, how are you able to monitor? I mean, you said you gave the youth who were on the protest clear instructions to go about it in a peaceful manner. How are you able to monitor that?
Very simple. Because even the policemen, the security people, when they were about to start this protest, they had to contact the policemen. Please, as they are going about, because we don't want it to be attacked by hoodlums and whatever, please guide them. It's that an international procedure. And they were able to do so. Like I told you, the DPO, the area commander, the DCO, they were all monitoring them. Not only that, among themselves, they make themselves as police to guide their protest. We all remember this entire protest. We don't want to, we told them we should not lead to that kind of thing. And they did control themselves. So the issue of violence and disclosure, like blackmail, we have said bring out the evidence. If you say I've assaulted person, let us see, put the assault, the person assaulted, put it on video. Let us see the area destructed. Put it on video. Let us see it. That's what I'm saying. There was nothing like that. It was just a blackmail. The policemen are there. If there was destruction or violence, the police will stop it immediately. That I can assure you.
All right. Well, we're bringing it now to the area of the accusations of fetish objects being used as well. Is this true or not?
You know what? Each time they mention this aspect of fetish, I always laugh. IFE is known for culture and tradition. The university also is known for culture and tradition. And you use all you have to protect minus violence and discussion. You know, what you saw there was not fetish. You know, we know it was not fetish. It was like the culture, the cultural way. Don't forget that if you are doing something, you are doing a ceremony at times, the masquerade, you bring them out. They are not harmful. Just to show that this is part of our culture. People ask me, okay, the elderly one, when I said they are youth, what about the elderly ones that are doing? I said, they also have interest. You don't need to wait and call them to do that because they have interest. They know that if that university has problems, their children will have problems of employment, of admission.
But you know,
so of course they are interested.
A problem.
Like I said, it was not targeted against anybody. That means that they have announced. It's a son of the soil.
All right. So if it wasn't targeted against anyone, what was the purpose?
Hey, sorry, I can't hear you properly. Maybe you will repeat the question.
All right. I said if it wasn't targeted against anyone, what was the purpose?
No, it wasn't. I am saying it, and I've said it severally. The newly announced as Vice Chancellor is our son. Go and find out the history.
Oh, so what exactly then, if you're saying that the new Vice Chancellor is a son of the soil as well, what exactly is now the dispute in this instance? What
is the grouse exactly?
Any Yoruba person, please listen to me, any Yoruba person is a son of the soil. It's an Oduduwa son. It's a Yoruba son. Ife is the citadel, is the beginning of all Yorubas. So we cannot be against them. What we are saying is that once anything that produces you is not transparent, it's fraudulent, it's manipulative, we must all jointly correct it. That's the problem Nigeria is even having. We should not keep silent when things are going wrong. It's not about Professor Adeokuta. It's not about the NDD. It's about the criteria, the lack of transparency. Let it be corrected. Let people look at it. If they have found out that it was transparent, they have opened everything, they leave it to our own comment, and they are educated. And they say, okay, fine. We will congratulate him. It's our son.
Well, the fact is there's a lot of concern because the university is an academic setting. And so when you, I don't want to use, when you kind of justify the use of charms and fetish objects, does it not, I'm
saying, please listen to me, I'm saying there was no charm, there was no fetish object that was used. You know, these are the things that we are all Yorubas now. So after you know how to do it. It is not something that will affect anybody. We have students there. We have our sons and daughters that are students in that particular university. We have our sons and daughters that are working, that are staff in that university.
Yeah, you keep saying it is not something that is going to affect anybody. But I asked you, what then is the purpose? What is the purpose? What is the purpose?
The problem.
The purpose of the use of. I mean, if you say they are not fetish, of the use of those materials.
I told you that the people that it's not as if we ask people to go and do that kind of thing as IFE community. But people came out to show their grievances. And I said, those people you saw, they are not youth, they are elderly people. But they are protesting because they also have interest there. They have their children there, they have their sons there as students, as workers there. And anything that happens in that university, we affect them and we affect their siblings. And they wouldn't have gone there with chance and fetish subjects because they know if they do it, it will affect not only those, any other person, even their own children that are there, even their own staff that are working there. So they couldn't have done that.
Okay, I'm trying to take a look at those who contested for the post of this Vice Chancellor of OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University. And how is it? I mean, I'm trying to look at all those who've raised one dispute or the other or contested the results of the process of the emergence. How is it that it's only Professor Adedoyin who is contesting, or who is just the voice that is contesting the emergence of Bamere as the Vice Chancellor?
Very simple. Very simple. You know, Adedoyin is from IFE, where the university is located. Number two, Adedoyin is like a son that has been put prompt to go and contest for a particular, because you have lacked that particular position for years. And now that you have the opportunity, you have groomed the person, you have walked around him, you have been ensured that, okay, this candidate will make it. And the candidate comes back and says, sorry, this is the situation. You should be interested. You want to know that. I know if you have a son or daughter that came from school that you know was brilliant and is still brilliant and came from school and said I failed. As a parent, you'll be interested. You want to see the score and say, okay, I want to see what the whole process. I've seen a situation whereby scripts were recalled because of candidates, and because people felt that particular candidate could perform better. So all that you don't have, that have not protested, not that they don't have grievances, but maybe they don't have people that will raise their voice up.
Sorry to cut you short. Is Adedoyin the only candidate?
Transparency. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Is Adedoyin the only candidate from IFE?
Pardon me?
Is Adedoyin the only candidate that contested the post of the VC that is an indigene of Ile-Ife?
We have two candidates.
Okay.
Professor Odi Makinde, who happens to be a sort of candidate coming from outside the university system.
All right.
We have Adedoyin, who is part and parcel of that system. The emphasis is always on the person that is from that particular university. That's the culture at times. So that's why we are saying this one that is within, because those are the things that were used against our candidates in the past, that didn't allow to have a qualified candidate. Oh, your people are not waiting. Once they see slight less opportunity, they run away from the university. Now we have appealed to all of them, stay in that university and they'll make sacrifice so that we can also have this opportunity. These are they doing waited. He got other opportunities to go out, but we said, please stay, because we know that he's highly qualified. The other person came from South Africa and well qualified. But again, they could have said, okay, because it's not part of the system, he's from outside. And then we will not have reason to protest that. But this one is part and parcel of the system. And that's why the emphasis.
All right. I think it's time to open up the phone lines
we should,
now.
Maybe just one more question. And, well, I've read a lot of people's opinions as regards the development incidents that has occurred around Obafemi Awolowo University in the past 1 week and thereabouts. I mean, the likes of Professor Wole Soyinka, the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, the Oni of IFE himself, they've condemned the protests and the violence or the surrounding alleged violence. I mean, the surrounding circumstances that have ensued as a result of the protest. I mean, is that not something that should be thought about by the protesters themselves? And then the second question again, I'm sorry. The second question is this, so you can just answer both of them together. The demands of the protesters now is review the process that brought in Bamire as the VC that should succeed Ogunbodede, right? So, what are they going to do if, what happens? How do they want to see through their demands, basically?
I have said, number one, let me say this. All those people that made comments, they were astonished because it has never happened before. They were surprised. But probably they don't know what went on, which means that those people protesting or if they're committing of substantiate their own review. And that's why we have said we have called on the federal government, please look into this matter, review the process, get about comment. If at the end of the day that it's fine, it was transparent, no problem. Oh, we will go ahead and congratulate the person that has been appointed. Number one. Number two, I've told you that Banure is a son of the soil. Go and look at his history. They are from Onyon, and not even going further. From Onyon, definitely Onyon, move from Ife to where they are now. So the son of Onyon is the son of Ife. We have nothing against Banure, Professor Banure. No. And the process is not targeted against this person or his appointment. What we are saying is that the process that produced him was faulty, was not transparent. Once it's cleared, of course, if indigents will embrace it, even if it's our son that is living amongst us, and people said, no, 1, 2, 3 was not right, we will ask them to correct it.
All right, so it's just about time to listen to those who have been listening to the conversation since 8 o'clock or some few minutes past 8 when we started this. We're speaking with Lawrence AWOWOYE, who is the chairman of IFE Development Council. And we're looking at the conundrum that has ensued in Ile-Ife in recent days as a result of the emergence or the announcement of Professor Bamire as the man that should take over from Professor Itai Ogunbodede as the Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University. Numbers to call, they are this: 0704 400 1067, 0704 400 1067. You could also call 0817 444 1067 or 0705 050 1067. I appeal to Lawrence to please hold the line while we take the calls, and of course I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear every question, every comment that each person raises. Just hold the line so we can get to the calls. All right, so let's begin with this individual who is calling straight away.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Nicholas. Thanks for calling us.
Am I clear?
Yes, very well. Go on.
Yeah, first of all, I'm happy you made it to Ife. It's a privilege to have finished from that school. And my dad was the first man to have a master's in pol science in that school. Anyway, but that's not the issue now. What do you think is the right time for the Ife people to have a vice chancellor for their university? These questions, it depends on how we want to ask them. Who is asking? Who is criticizing? And who is a beneficiary of any appointment? Let us not be shocked by chance. Chance is an English word in an English dictionary, and it has its meaning in all tribes. On the issue of being an academic environment, from when Judas was to be replaced to when Ife needed a vice chancellor, once there is to be an election, men become politicians, whether they are pilots or deep sea divers. But the truth is that we are no longer one in this country. Benga Adeboye left Ilesha to Osuka to study mathematics. J.P. Clark left Calabar to Ibadan to study literature. We have had
vice chancellors of UI. Kenneth Dike was an Igbo man. The Ibadan people did not care. They ate their amala and they were happy. Professor Umaru was VC in Usuka. It did not matter. But right now, from the CMDs of FMCs to the VCs of universities to even the bishops of dioceses, primordiality has shown in everything we do. And it's so unfortunate that that meritocracy is the least in the hierarchy of order, in the hierarchy of virtues, when we want to elect men or women to hold our high and low offices. But guys, if you are from your land, you will not be happy that the oil wells in your land are controlled from Zamfara. Let's be sincere. Have a nice day. I'll come back. Thanks.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Nicholas,
you
for
very
talking
much,
to
Nicholas.
us.
0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067, and 0705 050 1067. Those are the numbers that you can call to be a part of the conversation this morning. We have a tweet from Sheon Falola. Says Nigeria is a very interesting place to be. Nigerians are naturally difficult to please, yet it is so easy to manipulate them in their large numbers. The end is not far off if we refuse to change our mentality, especially that of entitlement mentality.
Okay, you can get a call us once again. The numbers, they are 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067, or 0705 050 1067. We're looking at the Obafemi Awolowo University situation as it concerns the emergence of a new vice chancellor.
WhatsApp comments, but let's take this call first. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Tajudeen from Agbon.
Thanks for calling us, Tajudeen. Go on.
Yes, it's a sad one. What is happening at OAU is really a sad one, because I think that is one of the reasons why we feel that being advocating for the Yoruba nation is just something that is unnecessary, because after fighting that, we still come back to now fight internally. Someone is from Egba, someone is from Oyo, and so I just feel that once the commitment and the efficiency of whoever is appointed is something that can be vouched for, I don't think, for crying out loud, Oyo is also in Oshun. So it is not compulsory that we have someone from Ile-Ife, except if it can be substantiated that yes, the process was fraudulent and the process wasn't as it should be. So if that is the case, I don't think it should now be we want someone from Ile-Ife. The attention should be that process to go.
Tajudeen, can you hear us?
All right, maybe do well to call back 0704 400 1067, 0705 050 1067, and 0817 444 1067. We have a comment here on WhatsApp. Your guest told us he has been part of some boards where politics like this plays out. So if he has been part of games like this against some other people, why is he complaining when the same politics is played against his choice? IFE indigents should seek redress maturely by approaching the court or petitioning supervisory authority rather than intimidating staff and students with fetish items. IFE community, also apart from the general economic derivatives they get as the host, they as well enjoy special consideration in general appointments, admission, and project awards. If they want to control and have everything to or for IFE indigents alone, they should set up IFE Indigent University. That's from Abayomi Babalola.
All right, let's hear from this person. Hi, good morning. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Falabi, thanks for calling. Go on.
Sincerely, I am disappointed by the turn of events. And we are talking about the academic setting now. And I believe we should do away with all sorts of business claims or politics. Now, of what importance is it for Ile-Ife if they have their own individuals occupying the position of the vice chancellor? Why would that change? Will it change anything? I think we should grow beyond all these rhetoric, all these sentiments
We should go beyond all these things. It's not helping us in any way. At the national level, we're talking about zoning. It's our person that must be there. And these are person that must be there. They are not doing what we want. Go to advanced countries. They care less about who is there. They care less about being an indigenous. America, for instance, anybody can be in there, can occupy any position. But what we need is efficiency. What we need is the best of all results coming from that person. So all these is our things, is our person. Talking about indigenous, IFE is not a university for IFE or by IFE people. It is a federal one. AWOLOWO brought OAU there. AWOLOWO will never see it as if he came from Ogun State and he has to situate that university in Ogun State. So let us free our minds from all these sorts of unnecessary sentiments. Which will take us nowhere. I don't know why it has now become an issue of a community to decide who we think is vice chancellor of a university. It is absurd. It is out of this world. I'm disappointed. In fact, our leaders should watch it. I want to quote you on it. He said it sometimes that an individual of people to be given the chance to be the DC. And this can be insightful. And that's what we are seeing now. We should be very careful. It is annoying. We need to correct all these things so that we can have a better country, a better society to live.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us. We can take more calls.
Let's take this comment. This is Dr. Adebayo from Abeokuta. The university not having an indigene as a vice-chancellor means that none of them is qualified for that position. If any of the indigenes had vied for the position and screened through the appointment procedures and found not qualified, should the unqualified be announced as a VC all in the name of being an indigene? Your guest said there is need to review the appointment procedure. Why? Because it doesn't favor his or their candidate. He has no point, please. This is Yoruba to Yoruba. If the qualified candidate is of another tribe, it means that the university would have been pulled down by now. All is well if this is happening in an academic environment. He goes on, I don't particularly remember the question, but grievances, my foot, the fetish materials are not something that can affect anybody. So anyone can just bring anything like that to his house and he will be calm about it. That is from Dr. Adebayo still. Good morning, Ola from Abeokuta. I see no big deal from the sons and daughters of the soil to ask for what is supposed to be theirs over the years. It happens everywhere, and we're well aware of that. All right, we have a call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for holding the line.
AWOWOYE is my name.
AWOWOYE, thanks for calling us.
You see, we must not deceive ourselves in this country. We must face reality. Although a university is an academic setting, the way it goes in Nigeria, a university is not different from any organization. You see, they ask somebody between contesting to be a governor and vice chancellor. The person said, I would rather be a vice chancellor because the powers vested in that office is so enormous. It's so much. It's enough to turn somebody into a billionaire overnight. And there are no scrutiny as such. Beyond the issue of fetishness and charms, I do not see anything wrong. Can you mention any university vice chancellorship contest that has been done that is not fraught with protests? It's a normal thing. I condemn the use of charms and fetishness, but I am also saying that the authorities of universities should make sure that the processes are transparent. Everybody is fighting for that pie. That is the truth. And look at go to everywhere. Then the indigenous, the issue of son of the soil is everywhere. It's everywhere. And I think we need to get it right. It is what Nigeria has become today. And it's so sad. Let me stop there.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much
For talking to us.
Right, we have another comment from Nicholas. What did the Oni of Ife tell monastery made up of Capuchin friars? Interesting. Have we not seen doctors, lawyers, and journalists fight dirty during NMA, NBA, and NUJ elections? Why are we so plastic? That is from Nicholas.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I like you to good night, my name.
All
Thank
right.
you for calling
I'm
us.
calling for the military man.
Go on.
Thanks for your guest for having the issue. It's not about the person, but it's about the process. I believe every Nigerian wants to know now. Our leaders to know now that we are all aware of our rights and this. I want the university, people read the university and come on. We are disappointed. We believe they have a protocol that are open to everybody. This is how to do it. It is a kind of knowledge. I don't blame people that are agitating for it. They are correcting the issues. We are all Democrats. Now, people are thinking about it. They are all Democrats. We need to know that because we are leading, we are Democrats. We are not those who want that have the knowledge. So, I want to appeal to those who open up the justice system and then they have a defense that it is not happening anymore. I believe they should allow the peace to live. Prove it to them because they cleared the air. We suppose that they are fighting for the personality, but now it is the process we are fighting for. So at least next time, any university will do that sort of thing. So they should continue with it and let the government listen to them, set up a panel to look at the issue. Then blame, they want to blame and stop the other legalities. Every Nigerian now knows their rights. They are always fighting for it. So no problem about that. That's democracy for you. Goodbye. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very, very much. 0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067. I believe we can take this last call. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Allow us my name.
Thanks for calling us. Oh,
wow.
The network decided to do us dirty, but if you can make your way back in time, we'll engage you before we let go of our guest, Lawrence.
In the meantime, I think we should let him react to some of the comments that were made. I don't know if you were able to hear most of the comments, Lawrence, but some of the questions that were asked in opposition to your stance is what difference does it make whether an indigene is vice chancellor or not?
Right.
Thank you very much. I think I live with all interest. We want and what we are doing. We are all Nigerians and it's better we all rise and raise our voice against any manipulation, any perceived lack of transparency in all our sectors. Otherwise, Nigeria will continue to be destroyed. What has happened during this particular time has never happened before. And that's what we are saying. It's not because we have a candidate. I told you that I don't think anybody will have more and better interest in OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University than indigenous officers. They are the first and primary beneficiary of whatever goes on there. They won't want it to be destroyed. And I told you earlier on that whether it was pronounced or not pronounced, if NGD has natural oversight functions over all institutions that are in their domain to make sure that they function well. And if they see anything manipulated or that will destroy that system, they should cry out, cry to the federal government, cry to those particular established institutions to look into the situations. What we are saying is, one, that process that produced the present the appointment they are talking about was not seen to be transparent. Let the federal government look into it and confirm whether it is transparent or not. Two, we are entitled to vie for the post of VC, just like any other person in Nigeria, because the university is a federal university.
Which I don't think was a dispute because, Adedoyin contested and it wasn't disqualified.
But the issue now is what stake does the community have in choosing?
Adedoyin was not appointed.
Right.
The issue is that the procedure that produced or nullified out Adeokuta was not transparent. And I told you, I made an assertion. I'm sure you must be a parent too. If your child cry home and said, Daddy, they said I failed the exam, and you know that child is brilliant, you know your son, you will not keep quiet and be looking at it. Don't worry. No, you will go out and ask the school, please, let me see. In fact, I have seen some examinations. This happened. And like I said, the injustice there wasn't against Adeokuta alone, but because Adeokuta asked people that can cry out. Maybe other people couldn't cry out.
Right.
And we are using Adeokuta case as a test case. We are calling on the federal government, the visitor of that university, to come and look at the procedure that was used to produce the person appointed as the VC is a son of the soil. We cannot be protesting against our son. No. Right. But even if our son comes home and people said, no, the thing you're having is not your own, we won't keep quiet and say, oh, don't worry, it's our own, it's our own. No. Okay. I think it's not targeted against Professor Pandire or whatever. No.
All right then.
Break. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation.
Being a part of the conversation. Lawrence AWOWOYE, the chairman of IFE Development Council, for joining us this morning. We appreciate you for your time. Thank you. All right. I think we'll be doing some sort of injustice if we do not listen. I mean, we caught it, and this is the airworthy one that we have of the traditionalists also getting involved in the whole hula balu that is happening at OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University. Right after, then we'll proceed to our commercial break. Stay here. Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Close shop on all the radios. Oh my God! The king is now.
gbọ́dọ̀ sí kọ́kọ́rọ́ kú ọ̀yádàm pressure estate 200,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí 100,000 lẹ́sàn Gusi estate òṣìẹ̀lẹ̀ àti randa high level phase 2 kọ́bàpẹ́ àti sódẹ̀kẹ́ tuntun phase 2 600,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí 300,000 lẹ́sàn ilẹ̀ ń bẹ ní ìdíòrì blessed city garden 2.4 million naira ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí 1.2 million lẹ́sàn onígangan 1 million naira ní lọ́lọ́ báyìí 500,000 ní gbẹ́tàn rẹ̀ ilẹ̀ oko mọ́lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ orílẹ̀ lógún ọlọ́run dá 25,000 ní plot báyìí ilẹ̀ àgbẹ̀ kọ́bàpẹ́ alábàtà ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 per plot bẹ́ẹ̀ bára plot mẹ́ta ìdajì lẹ́gbàsí ó sì jẹ́ éka lẹ́ra ẹ̀ ó gbòdìdì kan sí 39 NT road ọgbẹ̀ Abeokuta 07044648338 07044648338 gbé ìgbésẹ̀ lónìí àwọn ètò kọ́kọ́rọ́ kù ọjọ́ kọkànlélọ́gbọ̀n oṣù táwa yìí láǹfààní yóò pín.
Honey, must you go?
Baby, no, I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
bí a bá ṣe tán ìgbésẹ̀ ló kù torí pé a kì í kálàṣe kò pé iṣẹ́ o àfi aláṣẹ tán lórí ìgbàgbọ́ tẹ́ ní sí iléeṣẹ́ aláṣẹrí class home and property limited ni wọ́n ṣe ní ilẹ̀ tí wọ́n ti wá dìrọ̀ báyìí fún mùtúmùwà kọ́bapẹ́ town randa òṣèlè àti ọ̀yọ́ dam 100,000 ní báyìí òṣèlè gúúsì estate phase 1 sábòṣèlè kẹ́tìtún randa island phase 1 300,000 ní lájà àbálẹ̀ ilẹ̀ sí ibẹ̀ káàkiri Abẹ́òkúta bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ilé oko wọn kọ́bapẹ́ òṣèlè alábàtà mọlọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ 50,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ́ẹ̀ bára plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ẹgbà ìdajì sí bó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra odidi kan lẹ́gbà sí 4 Moshood Abiola Way nílé ogoro daily express furniture gan-an wà lábẹ́òkúta 08033086557 08033086557 bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń gbé ìgbésẹ̀ dandan ní kẹ́ ẹ tẹ̀síwájú lórí àwọn àfojúsùn yín ọjọ́ 21 oṣù tá a wà yìí láǹfààní yìí pin.
Hello, Chooks. Because wetara new laptop 2 boxes, rechargeable fan 3. One.
Your call credit has been exhausted.
Yeah, Ebuka. Because load 1,000 naira Airtel for this phone now. Ebuka, I send you 1,000 naira. You go load 8,000 naira. Be this boy in Apuara there.
Oga no. As they make plenty call. Now why I use Ovajara load the card?
Bam! Get 8 times your recharge plus double data on Ovajara. You also get 1,000 naira bonus on every new SIM activation. Dial *544# from an existing SIM to obtain.
Oh yeah, take. Go buy food for Mama Cheap Place. Make sure add Ovajara.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Oṣù àpọ́nlé wọlé dé wẹ́rẹ́. Oṣù ìkéwìn ìkẹ́. Ramadan IAS Unique Homes and Property pẹ̀lú ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ní electronics ló gbé àǹfààní Ramadan special promo yìí kalẹ̀. Àǹfààní eléyìí tó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀. Gbogbo ẹni tó bá ralẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ yìí nílé iṣẹ́ IAS ló máa gba ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá láǹfààní àti ra IAS garden setting táǹtà ní $1 million. Tó sanwó ẹ̀tàn lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà. Láìsí lọ kábọ̀. Àwọn ẹ̀bùn tó máa gbà ní òní electronics lójú ẹsẹ̀ nìyí. 32 inches LED television, home theatre system àti washing machine ládùndẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ń ra ilẹ̀ wa, o ní 200,000, 300,000, 750,000, $1 million, 3.5 million naira. Lójú ẹsẹ̀ lè máa gba ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú. Eléyìí kì í ṣe ìyíje yìí ò jẹ́ o. Torí kò tó ralẹ̀ rárá. Ló ti mọ ẹ̀bùn ńlá tó máa gbà. Ìwọ náà tètè kàn sí wọn nílé iṣẹ́ IAS tó bá súnmọ́ jùlọ. Pay 090-3377-3189. Má gbàgbé o, polóríire mẹ́ta ló máa fi lo Dubai ṣèfàjẹ́. Rántí gba tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì tiẹ̀ náà.
March 31st làǹfààní máa wá sópin o.
We educate, that's why we are respected. We inform, that's why we are loved. More music, we are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash, splash.
106.7.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Thank you for staying with us. Of course, before we went on that break, you heard, I mean, it's not something from the movies. I have seen that in the time past, but that's exactly what happened with the IFE situation about OBAFEMI, AWOLOWO University to be specific. And we should also reference the fact that the traditional worshippers, they have dissociated themselves from invasion of OAU campus. I'm talking about traditional worshipper system around. We do not know whether it's the same set or another set and all of that, but I mean, that's one of the latest that we have in that regard. We have comments that we still
have a mammoth of comments on WhatsApp. Good morning in the house. I wish to say that your guest's submissions are highly contradictory. If he claims that all Yorubas are indigents of Ife by historical descent, why then the clamor for Ife native? Again, if it is true that the appointment process was shrouded in secrecy, how does that become the business of Ife community? This should be the business of the contenders to challenge the process and not by extant persons to the process. Lastly, if Ife indigents need to know that the office of the Vice Chancellor is not the same as the throne of Oni of Ife that is peculiar to an Ife indigent, Much more that OAU is a federal university. Appointed VC can be from any part of the country. After all, the university built by collective wealth of southwest Nigeria and not that of IFE. This is from Abiodun. Says, good morning. The speaker has explained well enough the reasons for the protest, stating that the only reason is because the process used to sort all this is the process should be reviewed. I know of some schools where it is only the local government born that has always been the principals. We have another one. Good morning, Splash FM. My view is that we thank God that the name has been changed to OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University, not University of Ife. If it was to be University of Ife, as it was formerly named, it is only to insert indigene. Elder Abiodun from Bodiolude. I hope I got that right.
Right.
Right. Okay. We have comments on Twitter. Do we?
Yes, we do. But I'll read this one from Facebook. Oduwole Darish, a son who says, good morning all. Every son and daughter that participated in the selection process as the aspirants for the position of Vice Chancellor of OBAFEMI AWOLOWO University in the just concluded exercise should be investigated and sanctioned for their ignoble roles in stoking problem in the university community. This shameful act must not be allowed to go without the culprits being fished out and adequately punished. Crises of this nature couldn't have cropped up if not for the efforts of some bigots and disgruntled elements among the Ife natives within the university community. All right, thank you for sending that in. Ifeanyi Uchuku says, if an ideal professor, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is qualified, it should be made VC. The English words, waivers, and concessions have meanings. Secondly, we are not all Yorubas. Thirdly, Benga, you should be aware of the Elisha cabal in OAU. Another comment here from Odejimi Mujibolawale, who says, the notion sons and daughters of the soil is everywhere, except we want to pretend as if we don't know. I see no big deal in what's happening. Give the sons and daughters what's theirs. All right.
All right. We have on Twitter from Sean Falala, as a matter of urgency, we need to replace indigenship with citizenship. State of origin be replaced with state of residence. When our plight should be meritocracy, giving job to the best candidate, we continue to embrace and encourage mediocrity. Too bad. Edun A. Abayomi. Clearly, the issue is beyond the VC seat. I suspect the land on which the university sits is involved. Can the guest please confirm this? While at it, let's not forget that peaceful protests is the right of aggrieved people. I believe the guest did confirm this earlier on in the conversation.
That's right.
Sean Falala, ordinarily, I feel sorry for the future of this country because things are getting worse by the day. Nigerians are now more divided, self-centered, sentimental, and ethnocentric. What happened to efficiency, effectiveness, positive, and progressive impact? He goes on, well. I do not have any clue of how to go about the first.
Oh, okay, I'll help you. So it says Ibolatun Jasi Bayi Toriolom. I mean, where have we found ourselves now? Does it mean there is no disparity between university VC seat and Omonile matter? Whatever the case may be, we should look beyond our personal gains, rather a greater good. Entitlement mentality is an inferno. Let's watch it. We have another on Facebook that just came in. Sanitarian Akiola Aluarantimi says, we as Yorubas don't love each other. Are they saying the VC doesn't marry the office? So sad. God bless Nigeria. We have this from Olanima Shant, who says, this your resource person is just on a conspiracy, denial, speculative pedestal, and obvious damage control for their initial miscalculations. Okay, final one again on Facebook from Sanitarian Akinlalo Arantimi, who says, Yoruba still in darkness. Thank God the traditional associations have come up to make us know that they are not part of these childish acts. Those involved in that shameful act should be dealt with. All right, I think those are the comments that we have from our issue of the day. Thank you for everyone who sent them in. Oh, here's another one, really. Critical Scorpion Twitter says, we are no longer one. Let's not deceive ourselves. If it has to be a professor, let OAU have an idea. Well, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but we're no longer one.
All right, I think we can move on to from the pages now. If any other comments come up, they'll just have to be lumped in with the comments that we'll be getting from the pages section.
Right.
I have with me the Nigerian Tribune.
I have Banga newspaper.
All right, headliner, Electoral Act, National Assembly to appeal judgment on Section 84, subsection 12. We are working to implement court order. That's from the AGF. Badabiamila warns Malami against hasty enforcement of ruling. Those stories on page 3. Nigeria, a sinking ship needing urgent rescue. That's coming from Atiku, says 2023. A choice between unity and division. I beg your pardon, on page 8. Fire raises bridge shops at Akwawan on page 28. Lagos Ride, Sanwo-Olu rolls out 1,000 cars for taxi scheme. That is on page 28. Pengassan blames fuel scarcity on lack of forex on page 7. Traditional worshippers disassociate themselves from invasion of OAU campus on page 4. We just touched on that from the issue of the day this morning. Lagos Free Trade Zone investment to hit $461 billion in 45 years. That's from NEPZA on page 6. There's a picture here of the ambassador of China to Nigeria, the chairman, Choice International Group, Chief Diana Chen, Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Deputy Governor, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, and the Chief Executive Officer, Ibile Holdings Limited, Mr. Abiodun Amokomowo, during the formal launch of 1,000 cars for Lagos Ride taxi scheme at the Sports Ground Lagos House, Alausa Ikeja, yesterday. FEC OK's 92.123 billion naira contract for Abuja Airport second runway. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved a total of 92 billion 123,175,305 naira 77 kobo for the construction of a second runway at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The approval came during the council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa on Wednesday. It followed Tuesday's directive by the president to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning to source funds for the project. Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, disclosed the approval to State House correspondents after the FEC meeting. And this continues on page 29. APC governors endorse Buhari's choice for party chairman as zones work towards consensus candidates. Adamu, Musa, Al-Makura, Akume, Mustafa, Omisore face screening committee. Senate caucus meets CECPC today. Those stories can be found on page 2 of the Tribune newspaper. And those are the stories that you can find on the front page of the Tribune newspaper this morning.
Let me take you through the Vanguard newspaper now. The big story states APC convention, Buhari, APC governors insist on consensus candidate. You find that on page 5. And the number of riders accompany the story. The first one says governors trade off national chairmanship for presidency. The second rider, we are in the process of picking consensus candidates. And this is from the governors. The third rider, say anyone against consensus won't be stopped from contesting. The fourth rider, promise to support Buhari's candidate for chairman. Fifth rider will hold successful exercise. This is coming from the governor of Borno State. That's it, Yobe State, pardon me, who is also the chairman, the Caretaker Extraordinary Congress Planning Committee, May Malabuni. And we have a sixth rider. Screening committee extends deadline. Final rider now. Senate caucus meets with Buni-led CECPC today. To another story now. 2023, Atiku officially declares for president. Unveils 5-point agenda. You find it on page 8. Crude oil theft, vandalism, Pengassan, Pandef, others tango over Niger Delton's role. You'll find that on page 12. Reps to investigate death of Nigerians in Indonesia. You'll find that on page 37. We've invested 3.4 trillion naira in Nigerian economy since 2001. MTN tells reps. We'll have another story. Nigeria collapsing under APC rule. This is from PDP governors. You find that on page 11. 2023, Tambuwa meets Babangida Abdul Salami, says PDP not zoning presidency. You find that on page 13. And this sad one. Traders count losses as fire raises Akpongo Bridge. You find that on page 9. And the picture you find on the front page of Vanguard is that of Lagos State Governor Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, caught in the tape, flanked by his deputy, Dr. OBAFEMI Hamzat, the Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederick Oladende, and others during the formal launch of 1,000 cars for Lagos Ride Taxi Scheme at the Sports Ground Lagos House, Alausa Ikeja, and that happened yesterday. Those are the stories on the front page of Vanguard. There are a few more as well from the Punch. I'll breeze through them now. Electoral Act, National Assembly plans appeal, tackles George Malami insists on amendments. There's also relief as millionaire flies Ukrainians to Switzerland. Police strike, party declares support, calls for inspectors release. Also, 2023 Urobo community in Bielsa mobilizes for Delta governorship poll. Ukraine commends Nigeria, others over support against Russia's invasion. NDDC has outlived its usefulness. Scrap it. That's interesting. We have this as well. Convention Buhari orders APC to refund monies to candidates who stepped down. Also, this formed the basis of the conversation that we had for the issue of the day. Protests against OUVC's appointment within legitimate right. That's coming from the ONE of Ile-Ife. Autonomy, disregard Fayemi Akerido's opposition. Norgay tells Buhari. And this sad one as well. Embattled lover arrested over acid attack on girlfriend for refusing marriage. These are the ones you find from the Punch. I mean,
that's rather sad.
Yeah, they say it's by force to get married or to do and all of that. But then that's just the story from the Punch as we have it this morning.
Yeah, but that kind of looks into all sorts of violence, domestic violence against women. You know, women are really at a risk. There's this, on a lighter note, there's this post that I saw at some point where a man speaks of how the worst case scenario that he can have after going on a date is not liking who he has gone out on a date with. And, women come out and say, oh, wow, fantastic. That is your worst case scenario. The worst case scenario for a woman is either to be raped or killed, in the event that you turn down a, in quote, psychopath because you don't know this person. You just decide to meet up. You're trying to get married. So you're trying to you get to know people, right? And then women are at such a risk, and this has posed a problem not just in Nigeria, worldwide. It's almost like you said, it is not by force, but how many men actually realize and acknowledge the fact that it is not by force? But this is probably something that we will look into maybe as an issue of the day to really delve into, because it's not something that you can just breeze by. Right. So, one of the stories, Atiku running for presidency and his 5-point agenda. While you were breezing through, I came across his plan, and please give me a few moments to come across it. Right. So, in his words, in quotation, under my presidency, I want to focus on 5 key areas: unity of Nigeria, security, economy, education, and devolving more resources and powers to the federating unit. Now, speaking on security, because that seems to be the major thing. Now, that's the major problem that Nigerians face. And I personally believe it even comes before the unity, because the lack of security is a major threat to our unity as a whole. Right. So in the section, in the sector for security, he says our military forces are fighting on the front lines without equipment and morale. This is not fair. If we get into power, we will increase the welfare of all security forces. We will use modern technology and intelligence to combat insecurity. We will also increase the number of personnel for our security agencies. Now, one of the questions that comes to mind is, are all these things available? Does he have anything available in his own little corner? Because if all these were available, I do not believe that the current administration will have such a problem, with fighting security.
Right.
So it's like, is he willing to fund all these things, from his personal pocket? Because it would make absolutely no sense to kind of tilt the conversation towards the fact that these resources are there and not being manipulated. Security is a very, it's the first issue on ground. When there's no security, it opens the door to so many little other things. That's how come it's what they call the butterfly effect. You think it's just one small thing, but then it spirals to so many other things.
Right.
You might look at it as just the insecurity that the military forces are fighting. It doesn't concern the common man. But then those places that are being, that are in danger, that are at risk, are also bringing down to even our corners. You have people that are fleeing from the north, maybe coming down to the south, nothing to do. No, and this is not accusing any particular tribe, but with nothing to do with the situation of the country, with the hardship, they resort to petty theft, to common crimes that pose a threat to even the people that are not in the region, that are a security threat. Don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So,
well, in that instance as well, I mean, looking at the 5-point agenda that Atiku rolled out, I mean, still spotlighting and focusing on the security part that you referenced. Some others would also say that it's not expected to fund from his personnel. I mean, you are at the helm to manage resources as the leader of the nation and all of that. So maybe, I mean, I don't know him. I dare not hold brief for anyone. I mean, I'm a presenter and all of that. So I don't have an opinion in this regard.
Right.
Maybe some will say that for him, it's more about he feeling. I mean, he said in his words that the APC government has not done well.
He said in his words, the administration has failed in its fundamental responsibility.
So maybe he's also trying to insinuate that when it comes to that management of the resources, when it comes to security,
it's not an insinuation. He said it.
So, so maybe that's the focus. That's the highlight. That's the major thing that he's also trying to bring out in that regard. But I mean, that's just, by the way, in terms of what Atiku said and how he's made his intention on to run for 2023. But you can, it's just what it is really in that instance.
Right, and there's a quote that goes on in the Nigerian Tribune: Nigeria is sinking ship needing urgent rescue. And he says that that's coming from Atiku as well, saying that 2023 is a choice between unity and division. There's always this this feeling that 2023 is going to be very dicey, and things are going to things are going to change. I've heard this so many times. Things are going to change. They either change for the better,
or they change for the worse.
And I think a lot of people are tilting towards worst case scenario division. But so many questions to ask yourself, even if you want to go into the concept or the thought of division. Are ethnicities ready for that division? Right? If they say, let us collapse as a country, what resources do you have as a certain people to be able to run your people without any stress or without any, if it's not working together, the caveat is there to pull out. But what resources do you have as a people? If they say, Biafra, go your way, Oduduwa Nation, go your way, and all that, what resources do you really have? It's one thing to fight for freedom. If you cannot maintain that freedom, what happens? There are certain situations, I've forgotten the name of this country, that pulled out. And then there was a civil war because they were not ready for that. So we might want to really look at, situations like that for people that might want to agitate for division. We're not working as a country. Yes, you have to be ready for this. Are all those things put in place? So we really have to. But Nigeria being a sinking ship, well, I mean, that remains to be.
It depends on who you're asking.
It depends on who you ask.
Yeah, it depends on who you're asking.
That's it.
Okay, well, as you might have noticed, we do not have a guest for this segment this morning, so it's just us and you would pick the headlines that draw attention. But you can also let us know your opinions in that regard, as well as anyone's that interests you would be willing to engage in that regard. But looking at that headline of Nigeria collapsing under APC rule, or a sinking ship in that regard, and some also would still come out to say that did the PDP fare any better while they were at the helm for 16 years before the APC came into power, even though some would also say that things have deteriorated under the All Progressives Congress rule and all of that. And so that is it really supposed to be a choice between the APC and the PDP? That can there not be options?
Other options.
I don't want to use the word better, but there can never be other options other than the APC.
I was having discussions with someone yesterday, and I came from the angle of, well, are we really still looking at a party situation when it comes to these general elections? Because I believe that, or the general belief is that we have moved past the stage where it is a party situation now. It is more about who can deliver. But like you say, who is willing to vote outside of these parties? Right? So is this not something that should be at the back of Nigerians' heads, that you have to think outside the box, literally? The fate of Nigerians is at stake. We literally have to think outside the box. So, the issue of APC and PDP being, yes, they are the forefront when it comes to party leadership in the country. But should we be thinking of other options? That is a question. A question that
$1 million kind of question.
Yes,
kind of
it
thing.
really should. So let's take a trip to Lagos now. Lagos ride. Sanwo-Olu rolls out 1,000 cars for a taxi scheme. I had this conversation with my mother last night, and this is what she said. Where is the space to keep? It was a very funny comment.
Is it that dire that Lagos cannot accommodate 1,000 cars?
No. When you say that, we're talking about traffic-wise, not parking spaces. We are already talking. Well, Abeokuta has not seen traffic. What I've said this before. No. Abeokuta has not seen.
You can say it has not seen the traffic to the level of Lagos.
Don't argue this with me, please. Don't argue.
Have you spent... No, hold on. Because if you say... Maybe you've not gotten caught up in the traffic that you spent 3 hours. And I'll give you the example. From that day, it rained heavy.
That's one. It rained heavy. You've already said it. It rained heavy. Go on. I'm not going to interrupt you. I'm just outlining them. It rained heavy.
So, I mean, what I'm drawing your attention to is if Abeokuta has seen the traffic... So from Kancheke to Adigbe, it took me 3 hours.
It rained heavily.
But it took me 3 hours to get home.
It rained heavily.
But it took me 3 hours to get home. It shouldn't take me 3 hours to get home.
How long does it take you on a regular non-rainy day?
It should take me 15 minutes.
Thank you so much.
15 minutes, my math is still pretty sharp. Times 4 is 1 hour. Times 3... Times 12 of the amount of time it should take me to get home normally is when I got home. So
there was something happened. There was a reason for that. It was the rainfall, right? But in Lagos,
traffic ensued regardless.
But in Lagos, whether there's rainfall or not, whether there's a hurricane or not, you're going to face that traffic. It is part of the structure of Lagos.
Well, some Lagosians also tell you that depends on how you plan your movement and what time.
Listen, there are stipulated times that you can be sure that there will be traffic.
There are also times that you'll be sure that
No. You can never be sure about... Really? You can never ever be sure that there will not be traffic. But there are times that you can be sure that there will be traffic. Rush hour, of course you can be sure that there will be traffic. When it is not rush hour...
So if there's a rush hour, it means there's also a non-rush hour.
I was going to there. That's where I was going to, rather. When it is non-rush hour, you still have the high probability that something could happen and there will be traffic. So that is the situation. Well, now where we're going to, because it seems like we've taken this to kind of a personal note right now, but where we're going to is, shouldn't Lagos be looking very seriously at other modes of transportation? I mean, imagine if the railway was working the way it should. the decongestion on the roads. Right? When BRT started, I know a lot of people that parked their cars for the week and they go by BRT. And it really, I don't know if you noticed, maybe you probably didn't notice because you didn't live in Lagos. But for the first few months, it drastically decreased the congestion of traffic.
So when it happened, BRTs are still in operation in Lagos. And so how did it not?
The novelty wore off.
Okay.
That's one thing. The novelty
People
wore
still
off.
use the BRT.
People still use the BRT, but the novelty wore off. When things are brand new, maintenance is still top notch and everything. It was a pride to go by BRT at that time. But right now you have BRT even stuck in traffic when there's supposed to be a BRT lane. And, you wonder what happens to all these things. Again, maintenance culture, which we lack, eats into and seeps into basically every sector. Because the last time I was in Lagos, I used the BRT to go into the town, and I was surprised I was stuck in traffic with a transport system that should have its own lane. So these are the issues. For Lagos, rolling out 1,000 cars is detrimental to the transport, to the what's it called?
Transport scheme.
Well, not the transport scheme, the
road
traffic, yes,
okay.
The traffic congestion. Adding 1,000 cars to Lagos makes a whole lot of difference because it is that congested. So, yes, while it may be a laudable scheme, I think they should be tilting more towards other forms of transportation. Road transportation is, also ferry transportation is really a big thing.
Well, we'd never know why Governor Sanwo-Olu decided to do this.
Oh, well, we don't know.
Yeah, so for what it's worth, there were people who were at the event and applauded the idea and all of that. And we don't even exactly know what routes these cars were plying. For instance, I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think kekes are not supposed to ply major roads in Lagos.
No, they're not.
Exactly. So
not allowed
if
to.
these cars operate that way as well, where it's just, say, between Ogba and, say, what's the name of this other bus stop?
Well, another thing you might want to look at is the availability, the affordability. Will they be affordable for the regular person? Is it going to be more affordable than the current taxi hailing companies that we have online, or less affordable? Because we do know that this was... remember with how they drove away that motorcycle hailing cab, I mentioned names, but remember how that was driven out of the system in Lagos State. So how are we sure that this is not one of those things as well?
All right, but that's the story about Lagos. We should talk about the APC convention as well, as the Vanguard has the headline that states Buhari APC governors insist on consensus candidates. And it looks as though the fingers are pointing towards a certain person in terms of the chairman of the All Progressives Congress when the what's the word now? When the convention holds and all of that. And it looks as though the governors are dancing to the tune of the president in that regard as well. But some would also say that if they know politicians to who they are and how they most times behave, they would believe that there will be some sort of trade-offs, along the way that would happen in this instance. But hey, that's just a story about the convention. Buhari APC governors insist on the consensus candidate. But something very interesting is the fact that, that anybody anyone against consensus wouldn't be stopped from contesting as well. And so some will say that's a hallmark of true democracy, whereby if you don't agree with me, do it your way, so far you don't harm others, and that's fine at the end of the day. But that's the story about the APC convention. We should talk about the sad incident as well that happened at Akongo Bridge yesterday in Lagos, which sometimes he also this unfortunate incident can happen to at anywhere, but it just seems as though Lagos, surfaces time and again in instances like this, and it begs the question.
I saw a video yesterday online of a trailer. I think that's what you call it, a trailer, and I don't know how many cars, or rather how many tires. I know tanker drivers or trailer drivers usually
16 or 18.
Yes, they usually refer to those trailers by the number of tires, maybe 12 tires, or So I think maybe it was a 16, the largest trailer. Maybe it's a 16 tire trailer, right, or a 16 tire vehicle, and the half back, the half of the tires, the back side, on both left and right, were non-existent. So you had, and there was a tanker, there was actually a tanker balanced on it. And, when it comes to that, the weight displacement wasn't even proper. The weight displacement wasn't properly distributed, in the sense that they put all the load to the front of the trailer. So I don't know if I'm giving you a very good visual of what I'm saying, but just imagine a tire or a trailer that should have 16 tires having 8, the back totally gone,
right,
and there's still a trailer on top of the cargo. Yes, a tanker on top of the cargo, right? And, moving left and right, you can actually see
the imbalance
of that tanker. And I'm looking like, what is going on?
How did the vehicle make it out of where
How did it
was
make
parked?
it out of wherever it was parked?
What happened to the road traffic authorities?
How did it make it down to wherever it was going to? And you see a road traffic authority actually asking him to trafficate and turn right. And I'm like, this is what you're supposed to stop and park and in fact impound. And then, of course, I was coming from the angle of even the person that recorded. You're not even bothered about your life, because anything could happen. This tanker could tip over and crush you. And then you would see motorcycles moving, how they ride, without any regard for their lives, without any... And it can be so... I was afraid.
I think I want to issue an advisory here. Motorcycle riders, let me put it in our parlance, Okada riders who have this habit of trying to drag a right of way with a tanker. What are you doing? You should think about that.
What are you doing is a very correct question. And no. You really should consider your safety and the safety of your passengers. They have a habit of riding like... they have 9 lives, or they have lives.
Exactly what I
somewhere.
said when we were gathered outside yesterday talking about different things. There's Okada riders try to drag a right away with tankers as though they have 20 lives somewhere. So if one gets exhausted, I played some games while I was growing up where you can have 5, 6, 7, 8 lives, and so they have 20, and so if you take that one, big deal. I go pick another one and just continue.
You have to understand that if anything happens, whether or not justice is going to be served, your life is going to be lost. It's not a function of, if I'm hit by a tanker, justice will be served. It's not going to bring you back. It's not, even if it's the truth, it's not going to bring you back. If you have any major injuries, it's not going to turn back the hands of time. It's not going to automatically heal you or treat you.
Right.
So you have to be very careful, especially when you have passengers. But let us not digress. The fire raising
incident
at Akpobo, we don't know the cause of that. You know the cause of that?
Let's check a few details of it. Since we have the papers here with us, it just makes sense to look through it and see exactly what happened. There was pandemonium at Akpongbo area of Lagos Island yesterday as fire got up several shops in a makeshift market on the Akpongbo Bridge, extending to a co-bridge, and left goods worth millions of naira destroyed. Well, not for the first time that I've read news like this as it concerns places in Lagos. The incident led to a chaotic traffic situation as vehicular movement in the axis was grounded, bringing business activities to a complete halt. Areas affected include Ijora, Akpongbo, CMS, Funchal, Williams Avenue, and Constain, Apaba Road, among others. Trying to look for, an eyewitness, Mr. Mosiba Ahmed, said the mysterious fire quickly spread to other parts of the market. The fire started at about 2 a.m. Yeah. So I can't exactly see the reason, but I mean, starting by 2 a.m. could be electrical faults, could be anything.
It could be anything. And well, if it started by 2 a.m., we can be sure that updates will be you'll be notified when there are updates to the story. But anyway, things like this really do happen, and maybe we should bring advisories to this point. You know how they always say, turn off your appliances when you leave
in the house,
and your house, your shop, your office, whatever. Don't say, you never can. No, just turn off all of your appliances, even as much as a socket that nothing is plugged in. It doesn't matter whether anything is plugged or whether an appliance is plugged or whatever. If it is a wall socket, just turn it off. You never can tell. Sometimes there could be electricity surges, and these things could affect. They could affect the appliances, and they could catch fire. So that is one advisory that we think we should put out there. Very, very, very important. Okay, I think it's about time to open up the phone lines now, as well as take comments. 0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067 0705 050 1067. Those are the numbers that you can call to be a part of the conversation on Panorama this morning. We have comments in the meantime. Good morning, House. I think corruption is the cause of all this agitation. If there's fairness, transparency, and equity in all we do, everything we do will go well in this country. That's from Dr. Mike Anokuru Kutokwo. I hope I got that right.
You did not, but then let's just
all right, let's move on. Okay, from Ola Joel, if PDP fields a northern candidate, PDP will be the most miserable loser. Any party that picks a northern candidate right now is on its own. Atiku should go and sit down. Is he different from these crop of politicians that we have right now? All right, that is a personal opinion from Ola Joel. From Nicholas, Mrs. Itaga is still battling widowhood while Chidima was caught walking and receiving awards in Kirikiri. Evil is not gender specific, and I think only the Most High has the most accurate reports. In a depressed economy, psychopaths and sociopaths abound. A woman a few days ago burned her child over a phone. Traffic, he goes on, traffic is sometimes about discipline. Some people live opposite a mosque and still go late for Jumat. That's from Nicholas.
All right, well, Mr. Court, please to call us again. The numbers, here they are: 0704 400 1067 or 817 444 1067. You could also call 0705 050 1067. The WhatsApp line is 0817 555 1067. All right, on Twitter, we have some tweets that have come through. This is from Edu Abayomi, who says, I agree with you. If Lagos had rail lines, the traffic situation would have been different. Let's not forget that late Jakonde actually started a metro lane, but someone came into power and cancelled the project. We still remember who did that disservice to Lagos. A Critical Scorpio also sent in a tweet. It says, meanwhile, on traffic issues, a truck over the weekend killed a Unilag undergraduate at garage Aitara axis of Abeokuta. No crane was available to save the poor boy. The people literally watching die. ASU strike. Wahala. Another tweet from Sheon Falola, who says Okada riders are claimed heroes. Do you know that they usually go around with several photocopies of their lives? LOL. So losing only one life is a mere bread and butter. They act as if life is irreplaceable. People are really cool. I mean, people that are really strong.
All right. Okay, let's take a look at this story about the Electoral Act. National Assembly to appeal judgment on Section 84, subsection 12. Well, I think we should look at what the judgment states in the first place. Okay, here we are. It stipulates that appointees of government seeking to contest elections were only to resign at least 30 days to the date of the election, and that any other law that mandates such appointees to resign or leave office at any time before that was unconstitutional, invalid, illegal, null, and void to the extent of its inconsistency to the clear provisions of the Constitution. Okay, so, however, in separate resolutions on Wednesday at the two chambers of the National Assembly, the lawmakers described the ruling as an affront on the functions and powers of the legislature. Coming under the motion titled Urgent Need to Appeal Judgment of the Federal High Court, Umuahia on suite number FHC/UM/CS/26/2022 on section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022, the Senate on Wednesday resolved to appeal the judgment of the Federal High Court. Now, I think we should look at this from the two angles. I think we're talking about this.
Yes, we were.
Asking people to resign if they intend to contest for electoral positions. Does that seem like such a wrong thing to ask for? Because we know that if you want to really be involved in your campaign, you're not going to have the time to focus on your, what is it called, on your official duties.
That's right.
That you are currently. Oh, we have a call. Let's take this. Hello.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are very well.
Yeah. Thank you. This is Uche calling from Abeokuta.
All right, Uche.
Please.
Thank you. You see, Atiku coming out with the United Nigeria. Atiku cannot unite Nigeria. No even presidential aspirant of any region can unite Nigeria. The only thing that will guarantee peace is when people are allowed to determine how they want to be governed and how they want to stay. Nigeria, different people that are forced to stay together because of simply crude oil. I bet you, if you look up tomorrow morning and hear that this crude oil has dried up, or Nigeria has gone away with the crude oil, you will see that Nigeria today, there will be relatively peace. Everybody will decide how they want to live, how they want to be governed. This is bitter, and that is the only truth Nigeria doesn't want to hear. Nigeria knows the truth of their problem, but their problem is that they don't want to discuss it. They don't want to hear about it. Nigeria is too big to be one. Bringing presidency from north to southeast or south out or southwest cannot unite Nigeria. There is problem everywhere. Agitation is here and there. The only thing that unites Nigeria is let the people have a say, decide how they want to be governed and how they want to stay. Crude oil is the only problem we have. Before they say that our Nigeria problem is leadership. Today it's no longer leadership. The problem of Nigeria is crude oil. This crude oil is the only thing that put Nigeria together by force. Because of this crude oil, people see it as their right to be controlling that crude oil. But people see that this crude oil is the only source of living they have in their life. Without this crude oil, they cannot survive. But you have people living in that place. What resources does England live? Are they not living? Which resources you say that this is the resources that they have in England? What resources does China have, Japan have? What resources does Israel have? Are they not living? They are maintaining what they have. There is people there, even with the tax alone, people will survive. But because of this crude oil, people have put their mind and their soul and everything about them on this crude oil. As if without this crude oil, they will not survive. Let Nigerians, people that make up Nigeria, decide how they want to stay and how they want to be governed. That's the only time that peace will be assured. Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right. Thank you very much, Uche, for your comment. 0704 400 1067. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Odera.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Olabody.
Olabody, I did go is my name. Thank you. I couldn't react. I was behind the wheel that time. I was driving and it was unsafe.
Right.
So, am I permitted to react to the issue of the day discussion?
Please, by all means. By all means.
Okay, thank you. You see, when few people like us, we were saying it that time, and we will still remain on that position, that the pain of our problem is not all about, insinuating from some quarters that, it is one particular perceived tribe that is perceived to be dominating us. That is the bane of our problem. Or we now think that we are still living in that fallacy, that when we break away, to let all regions go their separate ways, that is what we mark the dawn of the El Dorado we are all yearning for. Lie. lie. It's a big lie. You see, the reality is that we are more polarized than, it's a multi-dimensional thing. I'm reacting to that Ojile thing. Your analyst, your guest said that we are one, he's a Yoruba man, this and that, and he was contradicting himself. So, do you know that even if a Modakeke person happens to have been a successive vice chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University, right. Modakeke people will still stand up and start agitating. You see, we are more polarized. So that is what I'm telling you. See, forget about it. Our problem is not bringing us together as one. Our problem is our utter mismanagement. And it is not a monopoly. It's not a blame you can put on the doorstep of a particular tribe. It cuts across. Not even a single tribe, not even a single Fulani man, not an Hausa man, not someone from can single-handedly be perpetrating and unleashing all this mayhem on us successively. So it takes two to tango. An Igbo man is there, a Yoruba man is there, Hausa man is there, all tribes. So the difference is just between our leadership class and us, the followers. Every other thing, forget about it. They are just like all this smoke screen, this thing. So we are just taking their bait. Right. So please, let's reason together. We are more polarized that this Nigeria must work. If you make it great, it tells me back to Babachino and let you know when the 20 things fall apart, the center cannot hold anymore. That is the reality. If we break away, it is just the beginning of our continuous mess. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you so very much, Olabode. 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067, 0705 050 1067. Those are the numbers that you can call to be a part of the conversation.
All right. We're also talking about the Section 84 of the amended Electoral Act.
So looking at it from the lawmaker's point of view, does it not feel like it makes sense to ask that if you would like, nobody's asking you to not campaign or to not contest for any post, but like the argument that you brought up in a situation of a president or a governor running for second term,
and they have to resign.
Do you ask them to resign their position
because they want to contest for another term or something?
So these are kind of, I think this is where
and I think it's just pitting the legislature against the executive at the end of the day.
Right.
But
we have a call. Let's take this. Hello.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning, Nicholas.
Thanks for calling. Go on.
Yeah, I align with my body, soul, and spirit with the last two callers. First of all, Uche was right. The oil finishes, you will know that England is not our friend, or the G5. There was a massacre in Kagoro, Kapanchan, 3 days ago. My friend Emmanuel Onyuchi almost died. It was not reported, it was not stressed in Nigeria. Now Ukraine was stressed with. Secondly, China and India are 1 billion, but they are together because they have come together to decide how they will live. Olabode unconsciously quoted Prophet Isaiah. He said, "Come, let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red as crimson, they shall be like wool." This country, we cannot escape some conversations. Until then, even if we go to the mountain tops, we will still be rigmaroling. And it will not be solved by this romanticizing. They want to not start. This is not the real issue within this country. Until we stop looking for the footprints of an elephant on a tree, it's unfortunate we will just be breathing here. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, for calling. We'll have to wrap this all up very shortly. We have comments on Facebook. We have from Iyanolua the Prince, who says, I think most PDP members have migrated to the APC and they're just pulling us citizens' legs. They are birds of a feather that flocks together. And Miriam Lasisi Balogun says, good morning, House. Alhaji Atiku's declaration that his ambition would unify Nigerians is laughable. And she has this laughter emojis attached. Because if he's really concerned about our unity, he should understand our cultural diversity and know his kinsman just concluded 8 years. But again, I think the Constitution allows for everyone to contest, so it's up to people to decide and say, yeah, you can come out, but I mean, this is the person we want to vote for, and that's
so
right.
The ball is really in the court of the people, which brings us to our final advisory for the day. Get your PVC. We can make all the noise in the world. We can complain. We can call in and comment, but your power is within you.
Right.
So get your PVC, and not just get your PVC. Make use of it on that day. It is well within you. Are well within rights to do so.
Right. It's been a robust conversation from 8 o'clock that we started this. We cannot take any calls again. I see another one coming through. We apologize. We cannot take it, and that's because we're out of time. Tomorrow, you join Miriam for Panorama once again, as it runs from Mondays through Fridays from 8 o'clock up until some few minutes just before 10. Thank you very much for all the calls, all of the messages. It means a great deal to us on this dial. Ensure to stay here. We'll have more coming. Advert after this. And 10 o'clock, John C will be here. You get the latest from the world of sports. Have a fantastic day. I am Benga Fayon.
And I am Odera Otara. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.